idea of what's going on in five-man pass protection. All right, so when we talk about five-man pass protection, obviously it's pretty simple. We got 5 guys to block however many they send. All right, so optimally, you'd like for it to be not more than 5 guys. All right, but if it is more than 5 guys, we'll get into how we handle that. Honestly, you'd like for it to be less than 5 guys, which makes it even harder. So always forget this. Don't ever forget this. If you took all 5 guys and you had one-on-one pass pro, somebody's going to lose a rep. All right, so it's always optimal to try to get to a situation to where you don't have to go 5v5. All right, but if you end up in a situation where you do, whether you get a bear front or eagle front or something like that, that's just what you got to deal with. So, but if you're in 5-man pass pro and they got that many guys down, that means you got a lot of guys out. All right, so that means you got a lot of guys you're running routes to and options to throw it to. So you're probably in a good situation. You just better be ready to get the ball out pretty fast. But that's beside the point. So, all right, so let's just talk about the basics of 5-man pass protection. All right, so, and obviously it's all dictated on what the defense gives you. All right, so right here, I've got 5 guys to block 5 guys. Let's just draw over and under front, so a 4 down. All right, so I've got 5 technique there, 3 technique there. We'll do a shade, 1 technique, 2 eye. I don't know. I mean, everybody's all different on this. I call, if I got a guy head up of the center, all right, he's a 0. If I got a guy inside number of the center, I call him 1. If I got a guy inside eye of the guard, I call him a 2 eye. All right, which a 2 eye and a 1 are completely different people. So I can't just go out there and say, hey, I got a shade. I believe that they're 2 completely different people, especially for whenever you get in our run game stuff. It could change the way that you handle that. All right, so we'll just say that this guy's a 1, all right, end, and now I got 2 linebackers in the box. I got this guy at a 10, all right, so inside number of the center, all right, and I've got this guy at a 30 linebacker, which is outside number of the guard. All right, so we got 4 down, okay, 2 linebackers in the box. Okay, so right here in this situation, we're looking at 5-man pass pro. All right, so how many guys could I potentially have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so 6 guys could potentially rush. Know the situation as a play caller, know the situation as the offensive line. All right, this 3rd and 12, which is never optimal. I don't like those games at all. We're not in good shape, okay? But if it's 3rd and 2, if it's 1st and 10, all right, don't expect them to send 6 guys. All right, but if they do, we got to have answers to it. All right, so 4 down with 5-man pass pro, I'm still going to use our half-man, half-slide rules. All right, so half-man, half-slide. The basics of that is you got half of the line is in a slide protection, which I believe is very easy. All right, you got half, and then half the line is in man protection. Now you say half, well, what's half of 5? Well, that's obviously not going to work out. So the center, backside guard, and backside tackle are always on the slide side. Okay, are always on the slide side. Center, backside guard, backside tackle. So let's say right here that our slide side's to the left, our man side's to the right. I always make the call to talk to the man side. All right, so right here, let's say we're in 5-man pass protection, we call rip. All right, so rip, R is talking to the man side. All right, so we got those 2 guys right there. They know they're on the man side. Center's job should be the easiest in the world. All right, center's job should be the easiest in the world, especially against a 4 down front. His life could get a little bit harder once we get into odd looks. All right, so we got rip called. All right, so we got to go up and count. Okay, we got to make sure that we can account for everybody and block everybody. Okay, so right here, pre-snap, post-snap. I always talk about pre-snap, post-snap. Pre-snap right here, we're good. All right, we got 4 down. We're good. We can block all of them. Now, stuff can change when we get those guys walking down, but we'll talk about that in just a second. So I got rip called. Okay, so I know this side is the man side. All right, so the right guard has got number 1, first thing head up to pass the center. Okay, so first thing head up, past the center, and I'm not talking about linebackers, I'm talking about down linemen, all right, is the 3 technique. All right, and then the tackle has got number 2, head up past the center. Okay, which would be the defensive end. Okay, right here. Does everybody see that? So we're good. All right, so he knows now that he's going to set, all right, and he's got number 1 wherever number 1 goes. Now that could change. We talk about pre-snap, post-snap, right? Pre-snap, post-snap. Pre-snap, he could be number one. Post-snap, he could come to number two. All right, and that's why we got to be able to trade those guys off, and that's something that you got to work throughout the week and know what teams do. If they're doing exit stunts and Texas stunts, you got to know and prepare your guys for that, and then also know their tendencies to be able to say, all right, coach, offensive coordinator, let's try to make sure that we get our slide side to the tendency side. If you go out there and you know they got number 98 and that's who they like to run the stunt in from the boundary into you, all right, then I know, hey, let's try to set that slide side of there. But if you end up in a situation to where your man side is to that and they twist, all right, well, we just got to be able to trade it off. So if you get something like this, all right, boom. He was number one pre-snap. Now all of a sudden he's taking number two spot. And every spot is going to be accounted for. If they send two guys to the same gap, all right, well, they're probably going to be in trouble. All right, but they will push, and then switch. All right, but that's okay. We're still moving with our guy. Make sure they sell out to it. And then, hey, switch in the middle of the rep. All right, it's not easy. It's something you got to rep. All right, but you also got to do with game planning, knowing what the heck they got going on. All right, but that's beside the point. I got number one. I got the tackle. All right, I got the end. All right, so backside, I've got a gap. Okay, center, A gap, guard, B gap, tackle, C gap. Okay, so no matter what they got going on right here, I'm staying in that gap. And I'm kicking and I'm opening up. I have my shoulders square the whole time. Doesn't matter what twisting they do. I have A gap, I got B gap, I got C gap. Okay, and that's just half man, half slide pass protection and 5-man pass pro. Okay, and that's against 4 down. Okay, so now let's talk about this. And this is something we implemented last year. We didn't let the quarterback make the protection or any of the calls like that. So we would make the adjustments at the line of scrimmage. All right, so this is an adjustment that we made in our 5-man pass protection. And like I said earlier, try your best not to end up in 3rd and 10 plus situations and you're in 5-man pass pro. That is difficult. And anybody in the world will tell you that. All right, because the defense can do a ton of things to try to confuse your guys. Whether it be simulated pressure, they're walking these guys down and they kind of know what your rules are. So they're kind of screwing with you, and you're thinking, all right, well, hey, we're good here. But they've seen enough film on you to know, all right, well, they're going to try to exploit that weakness, all right, based off of what they've seen in film. But regardless of that, okay, let's talk about this. Okay, so now we have rip call. All right, so like I said earlier, the optimal thing is for your slide side to be to the difficult side. All right, and we'll talk about that right now. Okay, so I've got rip call, and now all of a sudden, okay, so I know that the right side is my man side. So I know he's checking number 1 to number 2, head up, first thing, pass to center. Okay, this is my man side. All right, so this would be my slide side. All right, so I know right now I've got number 1, I got number 2. We're accounting for 1, 2, 3. The only kicker could be this guy here. All right, so we got rip call. This is to the man side. All right, but now all of a sudden this linebacker decides he's going to go walk down. All right, so he's going to walk down. And that's not optimal. We don't like that. Okay, but what you see right here is a situation to where somebody's going to get cut loose if I just run rip. All right, so if I just stayed in my normal man, number 1, number 2. All right, so let's apply our rules. Number 1, head up, first thing, pass to center. I'm in 5-man pass pro. First thing, pass to center. Well, now we're leaving this in, okay, and that's not good. Okay, so what we did last year, and I think it's something that you should be able to do, and it's not hard, count them. Tell your offensive line to count them, man. Say, hey, look, I know that I've got 2 guys on the man side. Can I count for 3? And no, I can't. All right, so now we would go up to the line, and we'd say, I don't care who it is, right guard, right tackle, center. Hey, check Liz. Check Liz. Check Liz. Now I look at it and I ask him, hey, so we good now? All right, so are we good now? So now my man side is to the left and my slide side is to the right. A gap, B gap, C gap. All right, now he's got to kick inside. All right, get tight to the hip of the center. He's got number 1. He's got number 2. Okay? So that was our adjustment to whenever they would send more guys to the man side than we had to block. Okay, we would just change the man side to the slide side pre-snap, and that was what we did. All right, so that is 5-man pass pro as far as just the basics of it without having to try to account for 6 guys, which we can get into at a later point. All right, so that's 5-man pass pro, kind of the adjustments we made. But let's talk about odd front. That's something we need to talk about real quick. Okay. So the most basic odd front 5-man pass pro, and we'll go ahead and walk these guys down because they make a big deal in this situation. All right, the most basic is to lock the center and then dual read with the guards and the tackles. All right, that's the most basic one to do. All right, so that's what I always like to do, but obviously we know that the kicker here is to make sure that this center can block that nose. All right, which is not something that a lot of kids can do. All right, but if you got a guy that can do it, it's great. All right, so we call this like fold, or we call this bob. All right, so this guy's locking the nose. He's got him wherever he goes. All right, so then the play side guard and tackle are dual reading the triangles. Okay, so I got triangle there, triangle there, triangle there. Let's pretend that guy's in there. I know that's a crappy drawing. All right, let's pretend that guy's there. Okay, crappy drawing, crappy triangle. I'll just put it too wide. All right, so they're reading the triangles. Okay, this play side tackle is going to vertical set, strong hand inside, eyes outside. Okay, this guard right here is working inside out. This guard right here is working inside out. Vertical set, strong hand inside, strong hand inside, eyes outside. Okay, so it handles itself. No matter what they want to do right here, we can pick it up. Okay, now if they want to send the whole world, that's when we got to get into our check money or check mint to where, hey, coach, are we leaving these 2 guys or are we leaving these 2 guys? All right, so money would be, hey, we're leaving the outside guys. And that's your coordinator. If your coordinator, hey, said, let's leave the defensive ends, which some people say, let's leave the defensive ends. Some people say, hey, coach, I'm throwing a bubble screen out here or something crazy. Let's leave the 2 inside linebackers. All right, different strokes, different folks. But let's just pretend like they're only sending 5. All right, so whatever they want to do here, I'm inside out. He's got that nose. All right, I check this guy. And I'm going to send both of them to the same gap, right? This guy goes B, this guy goes A. Strong hand inside, looking outside. He's got that guy. Okay, now let's say this linebacker comes here. This guy goes there, and this guy drops. All right, everybody's accounted for. That's the easiest way to handle your 5-man pass pro as far as, I guess, an odd front. But you can also still do half-man, half-slide if your center is not a great guy. It just causes the guard. And I use the same rip Liz, switching the man side to slide side when we get in this situation here with the odd front. All right, so I got the nose, I got the end, I got the end. All right, so let's say they just walk one guy down. All right, so now you look at a head-up technique, and I always talk about head-up techniques. Could they potentially be my guy? All right, and I don't know. Okay, so most of the time we get a head-up technique, whether it be a head-up zero, there's 3 things he can do. He can slant to that gap, he can slant to that gap, or he can 2-gap. All right, most of the time what we see is he's slanting, especially if you get a guy walk down out here. Okay, so once again, where could he potentially be? And either way, I'm fine. All right, so I got rip call. Okay, this nose could potentially be on this side. Okay, now you look at game plan situation. You know, all right, just like our defense runs, they kind of get a 4 down, get to an over front there. All right, but this guy's probably going there. He's probably going there. He's probably going there. However, it could be a situation where he's walking him down and they're simulating it. He's coming there. He's coming there. Now he's coming. Okay, but let's say I got rip call right here. Okay, I would want to switch this to Liz. All right, only because this could potentially end up in a bad situation. Okay, so let's say I got rip call here. Okay, I got number 1, head up, pass the center. I got number 2, head up, pass the center. Do you see the problem? We're leaving this guy. Okay, so if I checked Liz right here, all right, now I check Liz. So this is my man side. I got number 1, head up, pass the center. All right, so that would be head up. I got the nose. All right, I got number 2. So regardless of where this guy wants to slant, it's taken care of. All right, so if this guy wants to go there, I'm good. Okay, guard's coming to take him over. He's working A, he's working B, he's working C because we checked Liz. because of the potential situation of that being a 3-man side. And you can't block, and always remember this, and this, you'll get cussed out throughout your whole career. Well, coach, why can't we block them? Well, coach, you got more guys than we got to block. And so that happens. And defenses want to end up in a situation like that. But don't get to a point to where you can't make this simple adjustment on the line of scrimmage to flip your protection. All right, to say, all right, we're in 5-man pass pro, let's flip this thing. Okay? So there's 5-man pass pro for you. There's probably a million things that I could have done better. All right, but that's just the basics of it and just some of the adjustments we make to make sure that we can account for everybody that's in the box. All right, appreciate it.